Well, Ethan, thank you so much for joining us today here at the Austin Film Festival.
Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start at the beginning. So you are deep into virtual reality, yes?
Yeah.
So how did you get interested in that initially?
Well, I've always worked in the film industry, but had a love for interactive entertainment.
Sure.
And spent a lot of time bringing technology into the film world. And so it really became a perfect marriage of those two loves of interactivity and cinematic storytelling, and sort of bringing them together. And so I kind of fell into it, and I've been there for the last 4 or 5 years.
That's awesome. Okay, so coming from someone who doesn't understand any kind of tech at all, I'm not even sure which end of this that I speak into.
You're doing a great job.
Okay, yeah, this is right?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so where do you even start with that? Technology-wise, how does this stuff come about?
Yeah, well, I'm always on the hunt for new technologies. There are trade shows you go to, read magazines, you hear about new things that are coming out. In the film industry, they're always looking for ways to help make things more efficient, how to visualize things before we put a camera out on set and start spending lots and lots of money. So early on, there was some interest in using virtual reality to pre-visualize some things that we would do on camera. Yeah, and so and really virtual reality is basically a monitor that you're wearing in front of some lenses that allow you to sort of only see one screen and then can track where you're looking. So it became a really interesting device early on for us to sort of put you on a virtual set before it had been built, or put you in front of a character. If we're making a movie with an animated character, you can be standing there with them. So that's kind of where it started. But then
that's
I think
kind of amazing.
Yeah, it is, and it was a sandbox. It was a big fun sandbox that we were sort of exploring. But then sort of an industry started to form around it as more public interest formed, and consumer products started to come on. My focus came out of exploratory and more towards making real impactful content that we could bring to people.
So how does, or if it even does, how does personal technology play into that? Because I'm assuming that if you are in film technology, you're now having, one of the things you have to consider when you're producing something is, okay, maybe they'll watch it on a screen, maybe they'll also watch it on iPhone 10, or on the tablet, or what's the new laptop that's coming out. So does that play into your thought process?
Yeah, definitely. I think the goal is always to get to the most number of people, right?
Sure.
To have the most impact with your content. So thinking about what those devices are and who has them and what quantities and things like that are always really important. I think also in the technology space, there's been a trend to try to create a more of a uniformity to how content can live across all of those things. And ultimately, we're all going mobile. So everyone's on their phone, they're on tablets all day long. So that is definitely something that we think about. And I think that VR has some direct integration into cell phones. So we've seen that with the Samsung Gear and with Google Cardboard, and then with the introduction of AR, which is becoming, as of the second when the iPhone X comes out, maybe that will be a moment in which AR becomes widely accessible to a lot of people, and they can start to use their cell phone they have in their pocket to start to have an immersive experience with new characters.
That's okay. So I'm gonna have a nerd moment.
So there's a lot to unpack there. Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a nerd moment, and like I said, technology is not my thing. So I checked out a book from a library.
I remember those.
Yeah, a flip book with pages and stuff from the library a few weeks ago.
Amazon's starting to open bookstores now, which are really cool. Yeah, I saw one the other day. They're incredible.
Well, we were just checking on the new Austin library. They've got a new branch opening up, and the first thing that I asked the ladies over here was are there books? Do you see books? I'm concerned. Are there books?
It's all I've had.
So anyway, I was reading this book called Stuffication, and it was talking about how, in the U.S. and the U.K., a lot of Western countries, we've kind of reached peak saturation of
mass
stuff. and people are really looking for more experiences now.
Interesting.
And so they were starting to talk about how people are integrating experiential marketing instead of, creating more products to release with a movie or, a new car or something like that.
Yeah.
So is that something that would be coming in? That society as a whole is trending towards, we want better experiences now instead of objects?
Yeah, no, it's an interesting point, and I think that a lot of film studios have put some interest in this, and I think Madison Wells Media, which is where I work, is very interested in creating engagement across all forms of that media, and not just like go see a movie and then have the product at home that you go buy at Walmart or something, but how do we keep an engagement within the universe that we create, within a story that we're telling,
right,
across your mobile, across the theater that you go to, when you come home and you're sitting in front of the television, when you're interacting with social media, things that can exist across all of those landscapes and be not feel like promotional products, but more engagements with the universe. And I think ultimately they serve the same purpose, right? Which is keeping audiences interested in the material that we're producing, but doing it in maybe a more rewarding way, in a way in which that entertainment is not just promotional in nature, but is like truly engaging and uplifting. Creates
a memory.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about you mentioned the content you're producing in Madison Wells. So what's your favorite project that you guys have coming up?
Oh, don't make me pick my babies. I think...
What's a project you've got coming up? There we go.
So I think one of the more exciting ones is one that we're producing with Jon Favreau.
I love him.
And yeah, he's incredible. And a small developer called Weaver, called Gnomes and Goblins. And it's
fun.
There's a preview out actually on the HTC Vive if you want to go check it out, if you can find one of those. But
I wouldn't know what it was.
Yeah, you'll see it somewhere. But Gnomes and Goblins is a really interesting project in which you're going to live in this world with these gnomes and these goblins, and the way Jon Favreau is sort of unfolding this narrative is very different from things that he's done in the past, and very different than from things that you would traditionally see in like a movie or television show. And we're introducing characters, we're introducing this world, we're introducing these little gnome characters that when you do this experience, are engaging with, building relationships with, and it's a perfect example actually of how those characters and those engagements can sort of exist across a wider range of media. And actually, I mean, I'm a big believer in that nowadays we don't necessarily want to go see a movie or go see a TV show. Like, I'm going to go watch TV or I'm going to go to the movies. We're going after content. So I'm going to watch Game of Thrones this weekend, whether or not that means I'm going to a movie theater or watching it on my iPad. And I think that more and more great content carries through. And so that's one of those projects that I'm very excited about. I feel like it's something that will be extremely engaging and people will continuously come back to.
He's the perfect person to do that too, because he's always had a kind of unique approach to storytelling.
Yeah, I think so. And he also, the technology side of things. Like, I think he's someone who really gets how to use technology in a way that's
foresight there.
Yeah, but also not in it's not about the technology for him. He can make the most of it, but it's more about the storytelling and and using the most of that technology to sort of create an experience, create engagement, which is ultimately what we all want.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
What else do you guys have coming up?
So, we're also partnered with Sony Pictures, and we're doing so we're doing a lot of stuff with them, which is fun. Jumanji is the project where I
remember the first Jumanji. Okay.
Well, the new one's a lot of fun. The new one is...
The first one was a little disturbing, so I'm glad for the new one.
The new one's going to be weird. It's like The Rock's in it, and It's got a lot of comedy. It's a lot of fun, but it takes this idea of these kids go into a game and then live through avatars in the game. Already is very gamified.
I'm starting to see how that's kind of playing in
or
here.
living in a new world. So it was very fun working with Sony to bring that to life in VR. And then we also are partnered with a group called VRX, who are bringing VR headsets to theaters and malls.
Oh, wow.
So people like yourself who maybe don't want to build the whole thing at your house can have that experience when you go to a movie theater or a mall. And that's really exciting to us because in the early stages of the medium, we get to bring it to more and more people and have more engagements, and we hope that will further grow the industry and draw people back into the IP.
So it'll be kind of like 3D glasses, like when you go to the movie theater, here's your glasses.
Well, it's not in the theater exactly. It would be more like in the lobby. So it's sort of a standalone experience. But that's really fun. I think Sony has been a great partner, and they have a wealth of fantastic intellectual properties that we get to work with and help them develop those things into VR experiences. So that's another fun thing that we're doing. And then I think we're also being here at the Austin Film Festival is really great because you're seeing lots of new ideas and a lot of new creators. And I think there's also a big interest for Madison Wells in investing in those new storytellers, because that's where those great new ideas will come, and you need those standout pieces of content, especially within a developing medium like VR or AR, to really elevate it to the next level. So that's sort of the third category of things that we're excited about doing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Ethan, thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you.
And this is exciting. I'm even non-tech self is
We'll make
excited
you a
for
tech
this.
head soon enough.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks again.